And on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune this morning, the big story was saying, states, FCT owe federal government 1.7 trillion naira in budget support facility. We can see here that the NEC has rejects the setting up of National Flood Management Council. On page 2, Labour Party factions clash in court over suit against Imo governorship candidate. Terrorism, federal government orders probe of misconduct of correctional officers. Escalating cost of medications, the worrisome, risky situation of Nigeria. And I want to, you know how they say on Instagram, Okada, stop here. I want to stop here because it is people that have seen food to eat that will be talking about medication to buy. Ever since, I think the awareness of how expensive medication has became a thing in Nigeria after the official exit of GSK, right? And then people started to notice that medication for asthma, augmentin, and the likes started to increase crazily. We don't have a healthcare system that is solid. We don't have insurance health plans on the national level or on the federal level that can cater to the majority of Nigerians. So we are in a very dire situation. Even people who are the seeming middle class, on a normal day, you're one sickness or one illness away from being bankrupt financially or, from losing one's life. So now with the cost of living, the increased cost of living, the hyper increased cost of medication, I don't know which way Nigerians are going to from here.
Yeah, I mean, and of course, I saw Kalu Aja. He's pretty popular on X. I saw him, do a Twitter space, where the topic was yacht or inhalers.
Bro.
And of course, it was really just trying to understand what the Nigerian government's focus should be, what the priorities are. Yes, there's the NHIS. A lot of people do not know about it. A lot of people do not use it. A lot of people do not take advantage of the NHIS. But still, we spoke a couple of days ago about investing more in education sector. In what ways can we redirect funds to maybe healthcare?
Who are eligible for the NHIS? The average Nigerian who doesn't have a job, who doesn't have a source of income, do they have access to the NHIS?
I think everyone has access to it. You just need to be, properly registered.
Okay, yeah. I think I need to do more research about that. I don't have enough information.
Yeah,
about
but the point is, now that we are having, for example, GSK exit in Nigeria, whether they were leaving or not leaving, there are certain levels of healthcare that the Nigerian government should be able to, I believe, afford the average Nigerian. And we shouldn't have, regular antibiotics be running into, 20,000 naira, 40,000 naira. And these are drugs that the average Nigerian would need, inhalers, let's not even go as far as, those who need, what's this thing called now?
Ventolin?
No. Those who need
nebulizers, oxygen.
Those who are on cancer, who have cancer, who need
radiotherapy,
and yeah, exactly. Let's not even go that far. Those there's this transfusion thing that they do with blood.
They're blood transfusion.
Yeah, so let's not even go that far. Even the most basics that the average Nigerian should have sorted for themselves: free healthcare for pregnant women. Free healthcare for children under 5, things, just little things.
Can I just quickly mention here, I've just looked online and I've seen that the cost, and this is according, I don't know if there's an update here, this is from last year, right? The cost of National Health Insurance Scheme registration for parents and their children is 9,000 naira per head. 9,000 per head. So father, mother, children, people that are looking for food to eat, and people you want to tell to come and pay 9,000 naira per head to be able to,
Well, the point is, what I'm trying to say is that the government needs to understand that it needs to start redirecting some of these funds.
I agree completely.
And that includes the funds that they go to share to, people in the market as trader money or some of these very, very silly
That's one of the things that
programs.
we saw on the procurement
Because they're
awards.
just about to start a new one now that being done by the president's wife. She's about to start a new one to do the same trader money platforms, giving people 10,000, 15,000 naira as support for, their small businesses and the likes. I feel like those funds can be redirected because 10,000 naira would not help anybody's small business.
Right.
Those funds can be redirected into providing some of these, little subsidies in healthcare and in education, in my opinion.
Let's take a look on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune. Some other stories we can see here. Panic over recovery of 88.6 billion naira debt as controversy rages over Disco's operating license expiry date. Okay. Appeal court judgments. PDP governors back judiciary. Believe party will get justice at Supreme Court. At the top of the paper, we have Lagos impounds 15 petroleum tankers for parking on Port Access Road. Kogi freezes state and local government accounts. Appeal court reverses tribunal judgment sacking Governor Sule. Upholds Inuwa's re-election. Marine and blue economy. Heads of critical agencies sign performance bond with Oyetola. We also have here, Lalong receives certificate of return as senator-elect for Plateau South. And that's all we have on the Nigerian Tribune. Let's head to the Blueprint newspapers.
All right. This morning on the Blueprint newspapers, it says here, Sule wins appeal, joins Otu, Mbah, Alia, and Sanwo-Olu for Supreme Court battle. Jubilant supporters hail victory. Governor tax APC members on sincerity. The battle continues, say Nasarawa and Cross River PDP. And then that's where the narrative seems to be headed, that, as long as there's an APC person in question, the courts would always swing in their favor, which I wouldn't necessarily say is true. Like Ezekiel Nyaitok says, the court will work with evidence that they have before them. It's just, there's going to be a lot of sentiments attached to these things. And, people would accuse Nigerian judiciary of being corrupt, and of course, always taking sides with the ruling government every time, but we'll see. Malagi has shown capacity to deliver in information ministry, says Alake. Amid reports, NNPC Limited targets 2 trillion naira profits in 2022 fiscal year. Millions of naira. Okay, that's a promotional story. Troops neutralized 99 terrorists, arrested 198 in 1 week, says the defense headquarters. We can also find at the bottom of your screen, Senate seeks Nigeria's inclusion in $147 billion global bitumen market. Ondo with $42 billion worth deposit, the highest in Africa. Have they always known that Ondo had that level of bitumen deposit? Are they just finding out? Are they now going to take advantage of that information and see how much they can tap into the bitumen market with with what Ondo has? POS operators cry out over naira scarcity, threaten higher charges. And yes, we've started to hear bits and pieces of the likelihood of another naira scarcity crisis here in Nigeria. I know that it's already in Benin. From what I've heard, in Benin there's already a scarcity of the naira. I hope that it doesn't go beyond that. Edo State lawyer fined 100,000 naira for smuggling defense statement into court file. Interesting. And I think these are the big ones on the Blueprint newspapers this morning. We've spoken about a couple of them already, so we're just going to move away from the Blueprint now to the Daily Independent newspapers. Let's see what we can find.
On the front page of the Daily Independent, federal government to create 17.5 million jobs with $1.5 billion injection into agro-zones, establish agri production clusters, reduce post-harvest losses, offer support to 100,000 farmers nationwide, boost food security, World Health Organization, Nigerian governors to sign Health Compact Agreement. Tinubu assents to Defense Industries Cooperation Bill. Nasarawa gubernatorial elections, appeal court dismisses tribunal judgment and unfolds Governor Sule's election, affirms Gombe's governor's victory on page 7. Senate laments absence of correct population data to plan Nigeria. I mean, that's something that in social media parlance, they will say we've been new. I mean, we've already always known that we've had issues with our data collection. How many people are in the country? How many babies are born daily? We have a huge challenge in being able to, collate our data. ICPC wants sexual harassment attracts 7 years imprisonment. That's an important conversation to have. From tomorrow, the 25th of November, up until the 10th day of December will be 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. And every day it will be a reminder to people about the work that we need to do when it comes to creating awareness about the implication of gender-based violence and to sort of reduce the frequency of it. So yes, ICPC is warning that it attracts 7 years imprisonment. PDP governors ask federal government to prioritize new revenue allocation formula, optimistic that the Supreme Court will upturn appeal court's decision on Zamfara and Plateau. Use ecological funds for life-threatening issues, Senate urges federal government. At the top of the paper, we have two more stories. Despite more aircraft, airlines over 200 pilots. Okay, I'll take that again. Despite more aircrafts, airlines, over 200 pilots, engineers remain unemployed. Wow. And final story this morning, Apapa Abure factions of Labour Party clash in Imo over Imo gubernatorial candidate. What is their clash about? What exactly is going on with the Labour Party in Imo State? That's all we have on the Daily Independent. Let's now bring you the Punch.
Yeah, the Punch newspaper is coming up next. It says here, NNPC Limited ends fuel import December 2024, projects 4.5 trillion naira revenue. Do it. That's what Nigerians are saying. Do it first. We're tired of hearing these promises. Ibe Kachiko made the same promise. I'm sure, the previous NNPC board and leaders made similar promises. So please do it. And stop promising. Fuel importation, shipping costs, port levies will stop, says Say Ipman NNPC Limited boss. Kerry insists on December deadline for Port Harcourt refinery repairs. That's, in 2 weeks. The Speaker demands privatization. Federal government and states plan 18 million Greek jobs, $1.5 billion funds. And also government official prison warders aiding Boko Haram. Tinubu ascends bill on local military equipment production. We can also find here Nigerian Air Force decorates 12 combat pilots, vows tough time for terrorists. Congratulations to them. Cash crunch worsens, food spending drops by 3 trillion naira. Ondo police arrest housemaid and son over killing of boss. And bottom of your screen, final story this morning. Jusun, Osun chapter, chapter, on collision course over anti-CJ protest. And these are the stories that we have time for this morning. We, of course, won't be able to expatiate on them, but we will go on a short break. And when we come back, we continue this morning with Breakfast Central and, of course, back into our top stories.